Start with the great name of Allah, who is the Master of Master and the King of Kings. I'm Nur Mustafa Baloch from BS Computer Science 2K17 final year. Before I start my video presentation, I always start to this ayah. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. And our supervisor, Madam Kuruthalan Gopal. So here's a compiler construction which I today I discussed in whole topics to in a compiler construction. So here's some intro of compiler construction today, which I tell you today. So here's one agenda intro of compiler construction, and second one is programming language translator, types of translator, compiler design, syntax analysis, context-free grammar. So let's come and discuss these topics in detail. So first we intro our compiler construction. What is a compiler construction in a whole days? How to intro these topics and what's important of this compiler construction in our computer departments, in computer societies or languages or any other programming, because this compiler construction is an area of computer science that deals with the theory of practice of developing programming, languaging, and their associated compilers. That means a compiler is a man, which we say the compiler machine or compiler construction is a man uh, software which compiler translate this whole programming language and process this. The theoretical portion is primarily concerned with the syntax, grammar, and semantics of programming language. A compiler is a computer program that implements a program language specification to a translate. That means that when you type whole programming or whole codes in programming, and then you click on a compiler construction, then compile. What's compile construction do? Compiler construction there translate the language which you include, which you write in one or two in binary form, in syntax form, in computer machine language. Then compile a construction translated in a normal language. Usually as a set of files which constitute the source of code written in a source language into their equivalent machine readable instructor. The target language often having binary from a known as object code, which I told you already that K binary, when you include a language in a computer form binary 0 or 1, then this compiler construction translated. So here is as different types of programming language translators. So here it is. A translator is a programming language process that converts a computer program from one language to another. That means programming language which we process in a computer form, in computer programming or Java. For just suppose you take just suppose of a C language or Java or Python. What compiler construction do? Compiler construction do is work is this. Okay, your language is a totally converted in a which you include in binary form, and this compiler construction programming translator language one language and convert into the next language. So this is the forms. It takes a program written in the source code and converts it in a machine code. It discovers and identifies the error during the translator. So here's when you uh, during programming, when your sentence is a missing or any, then during this process, translator and during process translator checks the mistake, checks the errors. Is there any which you type in a language form, is there any mistake or error? Then this a process during a checking. Then translator identifies that this error is clear or not. Purpose of translator. It translates high language program into a machine language. Machine language program, the center process unit can understand, which we high languaging program there. This is a 1 0 binary. This is a binary number which translated in a high languaging program. It also detects error in the process, which I tell you in earlier, how this programming language translator. Now there have different types of translators. Without these translators, without these types, a compiler isn't work, because these types to work with to each other. So which are compiler, interpreter, assembly, assembler. So we discuss each and we discuss about it. Uh, what's the advantages or disadvantages of these types. So here, first we intro about compiler. Compiler. So a compiler is a translator used to convert high-level programming language to low-level programming language. It converts the whole program in one section and reports error data after the conversion, which I told you already. A compiler takes time to do it work as it translates high level code to lower code. That means if your language is programming language is too high, then a compiler take too much time, because this is a high level programming. In that condition, a compiler takes too time. That's why uh, all that all at once and then save it into memory. Now the programming compiler construction save in temporary memory, which if we save it, then this device programming save is in uh, drive. So what's of the disadvantages or advantages of a compiler construction? Advantage and disadvantage of translators. Which translator? Compiler translation. The whole programming is validated, so there are so system errors. Number two, the executable file is enhanced by the compiler, so it's run faster. User do not have to run the program on the same machine it was created. The executable files enhanced by the compiler, so it's run faster. User do not have to run the program on the same machine it was created. This is an advantage of a compiler construction. Now here is a second disadvantage of a compiler. Now which are it is slow to execute, as you have to finish the whole program. It is not easy to debug as error as shown at the end of execution. Hardware specific, it works on specific machine, language, and architecture. Now, the second is an interpreter. Now, the interpreter, just like a compiler, is a translator use a convert high level programming language and to low level programming language. It converts the program at a time and report errors detected at once. While doing the conversion with this, it is easier to detect error than in a compiler. An interpreter is faster than a compiler as they immediately execute the code upon the reading code. So here, which we discuss in the interpreter definition, the TK interpreter is more faster than compiler. So let's come what is the advantage and disadvantage of interpreter. Here is our advantage or disadvantage. You discover the advantage is that you discover error before you complete the program, so you learn from your mistakes. Program can be run before it is completed, so you can get partial result immediately, and you can work on small parts of the program and link them later into whole program. Here are some disadvantages of interpreter, which are there is a possibility of a syntax error on unfilled scripts. Program is not enhanced and may encounter data errors. It may be slow after interpretation in every execution. And here's third one is assembler. So having a look at what is this assembler is uh, uh, faster than interpreter or not. An assembler is a translator use a translate assembly language to machine language. It's like a compiler for the assembly language, but interactive like an interpreter. So here we go. Now this point shows a assembler linked in an interpreter. That means an assembler belongs to an interpreter. Assembly language is difficult to understand as it is a low-level programming language. An assembler translator a low-level language, and assembler language to an even lower level language, which is the machine code. The machine code can be directly understood by the CPU. Now this is a assembler work to easily translate it, to easily compile it to high or low language, which easily understood. Now, what's the disadvantage or advantage of this? The advantages of this is the C0miler program is easier to understand, thus times 7 for the programming role. It is easier to fix error and after program instruction. Efficiency in execution just like a machine language. And which are the disadvantages of assembler? I hope it be a little bit. So it is a machine dependent, can be used in other architecture. It's a big disadvantage. And second one is that a small change in design can invalidate in whole program. It is difficult to machine. Now these 3 points is too a tougher. I don't think that this is the disadvantage of assembler. So what? The compiler design and the phase of compiler. This is a topic. The compilation process is the sequence of various phases. Each phase takes input from its previous stage. It also owns a representation of a source program and feeds its output to the next phase of the compiler. Let's understand the phases of a compiler. So here we go. Now there is some I pick up some take a picture from internet, so which we easily understand the high language, how to use a high language uh, in internet inside word. So first, assemble tables are created. High languages when we enter a high language, then which performs is this lexical analysis, which is belongs to a symbolic table, and second one is that syntax analysis, and third one is this intermediate code generator, and fourth is code of optimizer and code generator. Now these five features are connected. Now these five features connected, and when user enter some what we say when some user enter some code or write a code in high languages, then these features work in a sequentially work. Every feature has an own work, which is most important or most compulsory of these sample stable. Now these are continuously features are works to each other. When they connect or error, they recognize during a process. Then they finally result to get sent to the machine code, and they easily we learn how which is error, which is not error. Now next one is compiler design syntax analysis. Syntax analysis of a pricing in the second phase of compiler. In this chapter, we shall learn the basic concept using the construction of a pricing. We have the seen that a lecture analyzer can identify tokens with the help of regular expression and a pattern rule. But a lexical analyzer cannot check the syntax of a given sentence due to the limitation the regular expression. The regular expression cannot check balancing token such as parentheses. Therefore, this phase uses context-free grammar, which is recognized to push down authorities. Now, here is some example of a context-free grammar. So when CFG context-free grammar on the other hand and the superset of regular grammar are in a so context-free grammar, which we really in what we say in other language, context free, which is the freely of a parenthesis or in any other, and regular grammar is used for which is use some parenthesis and so many on. Now let us count what is a context grammar. A set of non-terminal or non-terminal symbolic variables that denote set of string. The non-terminal defines set of string but have defined the language generated by the grammar. A set of tokens known as a terminal symbolics. Terminals are the basic symbols from which signals are formed. A set of production, a set of grammar speech of the manner in which the terminals of non-terminal can be combined to the form string. Each production consists of a non-terminal called the left side of a production, an arrow and a sequence of tokens, and our non-terminals called the light of side production. So here is a completely uh, what we say conclusion, and here we overall view which future is working a compiler construction, and which feature is most important, and how we learn in this video, okay, how which is how high level grammar, high level language, and low level language is used in compiler construction, which we use in our daily life, especially in the programmers use in this compiler construction when they know very well, okay, how which is the most high and how low. Then uh, complex is a most advanced features in these inside the grammars. So thank you. If you like my video, then subscribe my YouTube channel. Then if you have any questions or queries, then write down and comment below in my channel. Thank you for listening me.